My maid of honor lifted my bouquet, posed in front of the mirror in a full white gown, and said, "Relax. If you're confident, it won't bother you." She was in white. I was still in my robe. The photographer was 5 minutes away, and in that exact moment I realized, either I lose my best friend, or I let her cosplay as co-bride at my own wedding. I chose the first option. My name is Tessa, and before this, I honestly believed those "she wore white to my wedding" stories were rare. Like, yes, people can be rude, but your maid of honor? The girl who swore she'd drag anyone else out if they tried? That was supposed to be the one person I never had to worry about. Harper and I had 15 years in the bank. We shared lockers, dorm rooms, men we should never have dated, and 1,000, we're basically sisters selfies. We survived bad jobs and worse bosses. When I got engaged, people literally congratulated her too. "You're going to be the best maid of honor ever." And she glowed like someone had handed her a ring. And for a while, she earned it. She helped me tour venues, talked me out of eloping when I got overwhelmed, color-coded my planning spreadsheet like some kind of type A fairy godmother. The cracks were tiny at first. The day I found my dress, I stepped out of the fitting room and my mom burst into tears. My sister Leah put both hands over her mouth. Even the consultant did that soft gasp they do when they know the commission is secure. The dress was simple. Ivory, lace bodice, sleeves, soft skirt. I felt like myself in it, just dialed up. Harper looked me up and down and said, "You look pretty, but we should at least try something a little more daring. You're usually not so safe." Safe. Not stunning. Not perfect. Safe. I told myself she was being honest, that not everyone cries over tulle and satin, and I said yes to the dress anyway. Then came the bridesmaid gowns. Dusty blue, long and flowy, same fabric, different necklines so everyone felt comfortable. All the girls sent measurements the same day except Harper. "I'm on this new program," she told me. "I'm dropping 2 sizes by the wedding. Don't order mine yet. I want it to hug in the right places." "I'd rather take it in later than risk not having it at all," I said. "Deadline is next week." She laughed. "You're overthinking. Focus on the venue. I'll text you numbers." The deadline came. She didn't. I ended up ordering her normal size with a message that said, "Sending these in. They can always be tailored." She replied with a thumbs up emoji, and nothing else. Then she skipped both group fittings. First excuse: migraine. Can barely see. Second: work emergency. My boss is psychotic today. I'll get it fitted on my own, chill. Every time I mentioned it, she flipped it back on me. "Wow. You're really letting this wedding turn you into a control freak," she said once. "Trust me a little." So I did. I trusted history instead of my gut. The week before the wedding was chaos in the standard way. The florist warned me about peony delays. My uncle decided to show up with an uninvited girlfriend. The DJ's laptop died and he promised he had backups. Harper was everywhere in the middle of it, doing the right jobs but with the wrong tone. She'd say things like, "Honestly, if anything goes wrong, people are here for my speech anyway." Or, "Don't panic. Worst case, they'll just remember how funny I was." At the rehearsal dinner, mic in hand, she told a story about how in college I used to raid her closet before parties. Then she added, "And tomorrow she gets to steal my whole pretty bride aesthetic. But it's fine, I let her." Everyone laughed. I felt something in my stomach tilt sideways. Later, Dylan squeezed my hand and said, "Is she okay?" That joke sounded sharp. "She's just nervous," I insisted. "You know how she gets when she wants attention." Wedding morning, the bridal suite was perfect. Big windows, pale walls, soft music, fake calm. My dress hung by the window. Leah and the bridesmaids were in matching satin robes, curling irons and coffee everywhere. My makeup artist was doing the last touches on my eyeliner. Harper was texting, "Parking here sucks, I'm 5 minutes away. Save me a mimosa. You're going to die when you see my dress." It's a whole moment. I pictured the dusty blue gown from the boutique, maybe with a cute wrap or belt. I did not picture what actually walked through the door. She didn't sneak in. She arrived. The door opened, and the entire room went silent. Not the good kind of silence. The drop. Harper stepped in wearing a full-length, fitted white gown. It wasn't off-white, champagne, or technically silver. It was white. Wedding white. A mermaid silhouette with off-the-shoulder sleeves, a beaded bodice, a small train trailing behind. Her hair was in big glam curls, makeup bridal level. If you'd swapped our outfits, anyone outside that room would have assumed she was the one getting married. For 2 seconds my brain tried to file it as a prank. Oh, I thought. She's going to unzip it and reveal the real dress underneath. This is some TikTok thing. There was no zipper coming down. No garment bag. No other dress. Just Harper. In white. In my bridal suite. Leah whispered. You've got to be kidding me. Like she was afraid to say it too loud in case it made it more real. One of the bridesmaids muttered. No way. Under her breath. My makeup artist actually froze with her brush in midair. I heard myself ask, where's your dress? Which now feels like the dumbest sentence I've ever spoken. Harper twirled, sequins flashing. This is my dress, she said. The blue one was a nightmare. This is way more flattering. Chill, Tess. If you're confident, it won't bother you. There it was. The test disguised as a compliment. You're wearing a white gown, I said. To my wedding. It's not like yours, she argued. Yours is more princess lace. Mine is like red carpet glam. Two totally different vibes. We're going to look amazing together. Imagine the photos. And then, like she was trying to speedrun every bride's worst nightmare, she walked over to where my bouquet was resting in its vase, lifted it out, and posed with it in front of the mirror. Hip popped. Bouquet tilted toward her face. Lips parted in an Instagram smile. She actually said, oh my god. We're gonna break the internet. Two brides, one aisle, iconic. That was the moment something in me stopped trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Every delayed measurement, every skipped fitting, every, you're overreacting, and, I'm the real star joke. They all slid into place like puzzle pieces. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a choice. Leah moved closer, steady as a wall. Take my dress, she murmured. I'll wear literally anything. She's not standing next to you in that. My hands were shaking, but my voice came out clear. Put down my bouquet, Harper. She frowned, still looking at herself. You are so dramatic. I have done everything for this wedding, and you're going to scream at me because I look good? If you're really secure, it shouldn't matter. People know you're the bride. That's when it hit me. People who love you do not turn your boundaries into confidence tests. They need you to fail. I am secure, I said quietly. That's why I'm not letting this slide. There was a knock on the door. 5 minutes, the photographer called. Can I come in for getting ready shots? Not yet, Leah shouted back. Harper rolled her eyes so hard I heard it. Seriously? You're going to start drama right before your wedding? Grow up, Tess. I looked at the girl in the white gown holding my bouquet, standing in my spot, and something inside me finally snapped into alignment. I'm not starting drama, I said. I'm ending it. You're not my maid of honor anymore. The bouquet slipped slightly in her grip. You're joking. I'm not. I took my flowers back. This time she let go. You can change into something that isn't white and sit as a guest, or you can leave. But you are not standing next to me at the altar in that dress. Her face flushed. You're going to regret this. Everyone is going to think you're a psycho bride. Maybe, I said. But at least when I look at my wedding photos, I'll know exactly who the bride is. Leah swallowed hard, then stepped forward. Do you still need a maid of honor? Yeah, I said. I do. The coordinator knocked again. We really need to start, guys. I turned toward the door, bouquet in hand, sister at my side, ex-maid of honor in a white dress seething behind me. And when that door opened and I introduced my maid of honor to the photographer, it wasn't the girl in the white gown. When the door finally opened, the photographer stepped in. All smiles and lenses. Okay, ladies. Let's get some shots with the bride and her maid of... He stopped. Because I moved first. I stepped forward, bouquet in both hands, Leah on my right. I didn't even look back at Harper. This is Leah, I said. She's my maid of honor. The words felt like jumping into cold water, burned first, then numb, then awake. Leah's eyes went wide. Then she straightened her shoulders like she'd been training for this her whole life. Hi, she said, voice a little shaky but proud. I'm ready. Behind us. I could feel Harper freeze. The maid of you mean me, she cut in, laughed too high. She means me. She's kidding. I didn't turn around. No, I said. I'm not. The photographer did that awkward half-smile professionals have when they've accidentally walked into a family fight. I can shoot whoever you want, Tessa. Just point me in the right direction. You're in it, I told him. Bride, sister. Bridesmaids in blue. That's the lineup. Got it, he said immediately. Ladies in blue, on the bride's left. New maid of honor. To the right. The bridesmaids moved like a flock. It wasn't even dramatic, just a quiet, collective decision. They slid to my left. Leah took her place by my right shoulder. That tiny shuffle said louder than words. We heard you. We're following you. Harper finally stepped into my peripheral vision. white gown glittering under the vanity lights like a threat. "You're seriously going through with this?" she hissed. "You're joking for the camera, right?" I faced her fully for the first time since I'd taken my bouquet back. Up close, her makeup was perfect, but her expression looked like someone had slammed a door she didn't know could close. "This is not a bit, Harper," I said. "I already told you your options." "The blue dress doesn't fit," she snapped. "What do you want me to do? Show up naked?" "You had a year," Leah said. "You had fittings. You had reminders. You chose this." "I chose to look good," Harper shot back. "God. Sorry for wanting nice photos too." The wedding coordinator appeared in the doorway, headset on, clipboard in hand, the human embodiment of, "We're on a schedule." She clocked the white dress in 1 second flat. Her brows lifted. "Is there a problem here?" "No problem," I said. "She's either changing or leaving. She's not in the bridal party anymore." Harper's head snapped toward the coordinator. "This is insane. You can't just—" The coordinator didn't flinch. She looked at me. Not her. "Is that what you want, Tessa?" "Yes," I said. "Then that's what we're doing," she replied calmly. "Miss, do you have another outfit?" she asked Harper. "No," Harper scoffed. "And I am her maid of honor. You can't kick me out of my best friend's wedding." "She's the bride," the coordinator said, voice cool. "She can do whatever she wants. You cannot wear a white gown in the wedding party. It's venue policy too, actually. No competing bridal attire. It confuses staff and guests." I almost laughed. Of course there was a policy. I'd been so scared to enforce basic etiquette. I didn't even look up the rules that were already on my side. Harper turned back to me like she could burn through me with her stare. "So you're just throwing me away? After everything I've done for you?" The room went so quiet we could hear Leah's curling iron cooling. "I'm not throwing you away," I said. "You took yourself out the second you decided my wedding was your runway." She opened her mouth, closed it, then tried a different angle. "Think about how this looks. Think about the guests. Do you really want people whispering that you kicked out your maid of honor on your wedding day?" "I'd rather they whisper that," I said, "than spend the next 50 years looking at my wedding photos and wondering why I let someone else dress like the bride." The photographer cleared his throat gently. "I, actually need to get some shots before we lose the light. Do you want me to start with the girls in blue?" "Yes," I said. "Bridal party only." That did it. Harper's jaw clenched. She looked at the other bridesmaids. "You guys are okay with this?" she demanded. "You're really just going to stand there and let her humiliate me?" One of them, Mariah, shifted but didn't move from her spot. "You wore a white wedding dress, Harp," she said quietly. "What did you think was going to happen?" "I thought my best friend would have my back," Harper shot back. I felt something inside me harden. "Having your back doesn't mean letting you stab me in mine," I said. "You knew exactly what this looked like." "Wow," she scoffed. "You've been waiting to say that, huh? You're just jealous." "I look good." Leah laughed once, incredulous. "She's the bride. What is she jealous of? That you can't follow the one rule everyone knows?" The coordinator stepped fully into the room now, posture firm. "You have 2 minutes to decide," she told Harper, professional and done. "Change into something else and join the guests. Or I'll have security escort you to collect your things." "Security?" Harper repeated, eyes widening. "Are you serious?" "It's standard," the coordinator replied. "We don't argue about dress code with anyone on event days. Believe me, this isn't the first time." That last sentence hit me. Not the first time. Which meant other brides had been here before, hearts pounding, watching someone they trusted turn into a problem they had to solve. "I'm not going anywhere," Harper said finally. "If she wants me gone, she can say it to my face in front of everyone. Not hide in here like a coward." "That can be arranged," the coordinator said. "But I'd suggest you don't make her do that." We all stood there in this weird frozen triangle. Me in my robe, bouquet in hand, Leah in her dusty blue dress, Harper in her illegal white, the coordinator, calm and immovable between us. Then I made my choice solid. "Get security," I told the coordinator softly. Leah sucked in a breath. The bridesmaids shifted. Harper stared at me like she'd never really seen me until right then. "You're really doing this?" she whispered. "Yes," I said. "I am." The coordinator nodded once and stepped out to make a call. Harper's face went through about 5 expressions in 5 seconds. Shock, anger, disbelief, embarrassment, then something like panic. "You're going to regret this," she said again. But there was less venom in it this time. "I swear to God, Tessa. You are going to regret picking her over me." I looked at Leah, standing there in the blue dress that was supposed to be Harper's. Hands still fidgeting with the hem like she wasn't sure she deserved the spot. "I'm picking myself," I said. And she's the one standing next to me while I do it. The photographer, bless him, decided to just start shooting around the tension. Okay. He clapped his hands. Bride and new maid of honor, let's get a quick shot near the window. The rest of you line up behind them. We moved. Harper didn't. As Leah and I stepped into the spot by the window, the sun caught my dress on the hanger, and her dress on her body. And for the first time that morning, something felt right. Harper stood in the middle of the room in white, suddenly looking very out of place, like a guest who'd wandered onto a set where her role had been cut. Security would be there in under 2 minutes. And the thing she didn't understand yet? Being walked out in a white gown wasn't going to make me look crazy. It was going to tell everyone exactly who she'd chosen to be. Because when security finally knocked on that door and asked who needed to leave, I didn't even have to point. Everyone already knew. Security didn't kick the door in or drag anyone out by the hair. I almost wish they had. It would have matched the chaos in my chest. Instead, there was a polite knock. Hey, I'm Mark with security. A calm male voice said. Coordinator said there's a dress code issue? Every eye in the room slid to the same place. Harper. White gown, sequins, train. Bouquetless now, but she still looked like she'd walked out of a bridal catalog and into the wrong story. Come in. The coordinator called. Mark stepped inside. Took one look at the situation, bride in a robe. Bridesmaids in blue. One glaring woman in white, and his expression didn't change. You could tell he'd seen this movie before. Hi. He said to me first. You're the bride. Right? Yes, I said. He turned slightly toward Harper. And you're not the bride. It wasn't a question. I'm the maid of honor, Harper snapped. Or I was, until she lost her mind. She's not in the bridal party anymore, I said. My voice sounded steady in my ears. Maybe for the first time that morning. She's wearing a white gown and refusing to change. She can either change or leave. I'm not arguing about it anymore. Mark nodded once. Understood. He addressed Harper directly. Ma'am, the venue has a no competing bridal attire policy. We ask that no guest wears a white wedding gown style dress. You were informed of that at check-in. I wasn't informed of anything, she snapped. I picked up my key from a teenager who barely looked up from his phone. It's in the contract your friend signed, the coordinator added. And it's on the website and lobby sign. Mark kept his tone extremely neutral. Either way, the bride doesn't want you in that dress in the wedding party. You have 2 options. Change into something else and attend as a guest, or I escort you off the event floor to collect your things. You can't be serious, she said, voice going shrill. You're going to escort me out because I look good? That's discrimination. Discrimination against what? Leah muttered. Wealthy white dresses? A couple bridesmaids stifled nervous laughter. Mark didn't react. It's about the event rules and the bride's request, he said. This isn't up for debate. What would you like to do? Harper turned to me, eyes glistening. Not with regret yet, but with outrage. You're really going to let a rent-a-cop throw me out of your wedding? She demanded. After everything I've done? After planning, dress shopping, emotional support? Over a color? This isn't about a color, I said. This is about you deciding my wedding was your stage. I just didn't want to look like a dull background extra, she burst out. You picked those sad blue dresses, Tess. I wasn't going to look frumpy in your photos. Sorry. Mariah finally spoke up. We don't feel frumpy, she said quietly. We feel like bridesmaids. You look like a second bride. Thank you, Harper said automatically. Then realized that wasn't the compliment she thought it was. I took a breath. You knew what you were doing, Harp. You skipped fittings. You forgot your measurements. You joked about how you'd be the main character. And then you walked in here in white, and stole my bouquet for your mirror selfie. Her cheeks flushed. I was holding it, not stealing it. Oh my God, you're so dramatic. Mark shifted his weight, patience thinning. Ma'am, I need an answer. She looked at him, then at me, then at the bridesmaids all lined up in their blue dresses, at Leah by my side. And for the first time, I saw it hit her. She was alone in this room. No one's going to say anything? She demanded. No one is going to stand up for me? Bridesmaid Jenna swallowed. We are standing up, she said. Just not for you. That landed harder than anything I'd said. Harper's eyes filled. This time with something closer to humiliation. You're all fake, she spat. You love me when I'm doing things for you. But the second I make one mistake, one deliberate choice, Leah cut in. You all turn on me, Harper finished, ignoring her. Fine. Escort me out. I hope you all enjoy your boring little matching dresses and your boring little photos. This wedding is going to be forgettable without me. Mark held out an arm toward the door. I'll walk with you, he said calmly. You can collect your belongings, and if you decide to change and return as a guest later, we'll check in with the bride first. I'm not coming back, she snapped. I wouldn't stay at this circus if you paid me. She looked at me one last time. When he cheats or you end up divorced, don't call me. Remember this moment instead. Leah took half a step forward, anger flashing, but I put a hand on her arm. We weren't doing a screaming match, not today. Harper, I said quietly. If I end up divorced, it won't be because I refuse to let my maid of honor pretend to be the bride. Her jaw clenched. For a second, I thought she might lunge at me. Instead, she spun, her train catching on the edge of a chair, almost tripping her. Mark gently freed the fabric. Watch your step, he said. She yanked it out of his hand and stormed toward the door. For a heartbeat, she paused and looked back, maybe waiting for me to break, to call after her, to say, wait. I didn't mean it. I stayed where I was. She saw that. Then she was gone. White skirt swishing out of the room like spilled milk. The second the door shut, everyone exhaled at once. The coordinator clapped her hands softly. Okay, she said. We have 12 minutes until the ceremony. Bride, you're getting into your dress. Maid of honor, you're helping. Everyone else, positions for photos. Leah turned to me, eyes shiny. Are you okay? I let out a weird laugh that felt half hysterical, half relieved. Ask me that again after I'm married. The photographer, bless him, shifted straight into action. Let's get you into that gown, he said. Then we're grabbing just the bride and sister shots. Trust me, those are going to age a lot better. As I stepped into my dress and felt the fabric slide up over my shoulders, I caught my reflection. Hair done. Makeup almost perfect. Eyes a little red but clear. It hit me then I had just chosen my own piece over someone else's performance. On my wedding day. Out loud. In front of everyone. And the world didn't end. Zip. Leah said softly behind me, pulling the zipper up. You look like the bride. For the first time this morning, I replied. Minutes later, we walked down the hallway toward the ceremony space. The music was already playing, guests murmuring on the other side of the doors. I clutched my bouquet, skeleton still buzzing with adrenaline. Do you think she'll make a scene outside? Leah whispered. Maybe, I said. But she's not making it in here. Because as far as I was concerned, if anyone tried to hijack this part, I was ready to escort them out myself. What I didn't know was that by the time I reached the end of that aisle, my guests already knew someone had been thrown out and half the room was quietly taking sides. By the time the doors opened and the music swelled, I could feel it. The room didn't just have guests. It had information. You can tell when something has already happened before you walk in. People sit a little straighter, whispers cut off just a fraction too late. Heads turn not just because you're the bride, but because you've become part two of a story they started hearing 10 minutes ago. The coordinator gave the signal. The bridesmaids went out in pairs, all in dusty blue, all trying not to look like they'd just watched a woman escorted off the floor in a white gown. Leah squeezed my hand once. Ready? Not even a little, I whispered. But let's go. The doors swung open. Everyone stood. For a moment, it was everything I'd imagined, lights soft. Aisle lined with flowers. Dylan waiting at the end with that stunned, watery smile that made me fall in love with him all over again. Then I heard it. Wasn't there another one? They said she was in a white dress. No way, who does that? I saw security walk her out. Full-on wedding gown. Little pieces, cut off, but enough to make it clear. Harper didn't leave quietly. People had seen. Leah leaned closer as we walked. Eyes on him, she murmured. Not on them. So I did. I locked onto Dylan's face like it was a lifeline. He mouthed. You okay? I nodded. Tiny. Bouquet trembling just slightly in my hands. When we reached the altar, he took my hand and whispered, You did the right thing. I know, I whispered back. Still feels like my heart's doing CrossFit. He huffed a quiet laugh and squeezed my fingers. The officiant started. The ceremony washed over me in pieces. Vows. Rings. The sound of someone's baby making a soft noise in the back. Leah sniffling beside me. My mom audibly blowing her nose somewhere in the front row. Every so often, my brain would flash a ghost image. Harper in white, standing where Leah was. Bouquet she had no right to holding center. And every time it did, reality slapped it away. Leah in blue, me in ivory. Dylan at my side. No second bride. You may kiss the bride, the officiant finally said. When we turned to face the crowd as husband and wife, the applause felt different. Louder. Almost defiant. Like the room had decided. We're here for this. Not whatever storm blew through earlier. As we walked back down the aisle, people reached out to touch my arm. Whisper congratulations, Smile too hard. A few of them glanced at Leah like they were putting puzzle pieces together. One cousin leaned in and muttered, "You'll have to tell me later," with a grin that said she already knew enough. Out in the hallway, away from the music, I let out a breath that felt like it had been waiting since the bridal suite. "That's the hard part done," Dylan said. "You think?" I said. "Pretty sure the hard part is the reception where every aunt and random +1 asks what happened." He grimaced. "Okay, fair. We tag team. You don't owe anyone a full replay." The coordinator appeared again, clipboard in hand, headset slightly askew like she'd actually had to coordinate an eviction mid-morning. "You did great," she said. "And for the record, you are not the first bride to deal with this. You handled it cleaner than most." "Really?" I asked. "I've seen a bridesmaid try to wear a veil," she said. "And a cousin in a full ball gown. One bride fainted. You stayed upright and made a decision. That's a win in my book." Leah snorted. "Put that on the cake. Congrats, you stayed upright." We moved into photos. For a few minutes, it was just us and the photographer in a side garden greenery, soft light, no audience. He showed us a few shots on the back of his camera. Me in my dress, Leah at my side, Dylan leaning in. Laughter caught midair. "These are going to look incredible," he said. "And later, when your grandkids ask why Aunt Leah is the maid of honor instead of whoever that was, you'll have one hell of a story." I grimaced. "I'd rather just say, 'We made a good decision,' and leave it at that." "Even better," he said. "Then they'll think you were just wise from the start." By the time we entered the reception, the story had done its laps. I could feel it in the way people looked at me, not pity, exactly, but that too curious glint that says, "I know something happened and I'm dying for you to bring it up so I can say no way and side with you." The MC announced us. The room cheered. We did our first dance. For 3 minutes, it was just music and us and the floor under our feet. Afterward, as we sat down at the head table, my phone buzzed in my dress pocket. I shouldn't have looked. Of course I did. It was a message from an unknown number that I didn't need more than half a second to recognize. "Harper. Hope you're happy. People are already saying you humiliated your own maid of honor in front of everyone. Good luck explaining why your best friend mysteriously disappeared from the ceremony." Attached was a blurry photo from the parking lot, her in the white gown, eyes red, cigarette in hand even though she doesn't smoke, making sure she looked as tragic as possible. Leah saw my face and leaned over. "Is that her?" "Of course," I said. I handed her the phone. Leah read, then rolled her eyes so hard she might have sprained something. "She's really going for misunderstood victim already. Probably already writing a 20-part Instagram story," I muttered. Dylan slid an arm around my chair. "Block her," he said softly. "At least for today. Today is not about her." He was right. I blocked the number, turned off notifications from unknowns, and put my phone face down on the table. I didn't see her next move until later, when other people showed me. While we ate, relatives started drifting by. My Aunt Kara squeezed my shoulder. "Heard you had to deal with some nonsense this morning," she said quietly. "Good. For you." My cousin Sam leaned in later. "Whoever she was, she got what she asked for," he muttered. "Came stomping past the lobby like a ghost bride. Half the guests saw. Not everybody was supportive. One of Dylan's great aunts cornered me near the dessert table. "I heard you threw out your maid of honor," she said, scandal heavy in her voice. "On your wedding day. Over a dress." I looked her dead in the eye. "She wore a white wedding gown and refused to change," I said. I asked her nicely. I gave her options. She chose to leave. The aunt clucked her tongue. "Still. That's friendship. You could have been gracious. If your friend showed up to your wedding wearing the same dress and tried to stand where you're standing," I asked, "would you be gracious?" She opened her mouth, closed it, then patted my arm. "Enjoy your cake, dear," she said and shuffled off. Dylan appeared at my side. "Need rescuing?" "Always," I said. He took my plate and steered me back to our table. "I know it feels like everyone is talking about it," he said quietly. "But most people are just here for free food and to see you happy. The rest? They'd talk no matter what you did." Later, between speeches, Leah pulled me aside and showed me her phone. "Don't freak out," she said. "But you should see this at least once." It was Harper's Instagram story. Slide 1. A close-up of her face, eyes red, captioned, "Imagine getting thrown out of your best friend's wedding for looking too good in white. You can't make this up." Slide 2. A boomerang of her white dress train in the parking lot. Text. "Apparently brides don't like competition anymore." Slide 3. A vague text screenshot. "Some people will throw away 15 years of friendship to protect their ego. Believe people when they show you who they are." No names. No direct tags. Just enough crumbs that anyone who knew us would know exactly who she meant. How many views? I asked. Too many, Leah said. But also, look at the replies. She scrolled. A few messages said, "Wait. What happened?" Or, "Oh my god, no way." But a lot said, "Girl. You wore white? And I love you. But this is not the flex you think it is." One friend had sent, "Isn't she the bride? Why would you pick this fight?" With a side-eye emoji. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. So at least the internet isn't fully on her side. "People know the basic rule," Leah said. "You don't touch a hot stove. You don't text your ex after 2 a.m. And you don't wear a wedding gown to someone else's wedding." Our dads did speeches. Our moms cried. Dylan pulled me onto the dance floor. For chunks of the night, I actually forgot about the morning. I was just a bride at her wedding, surrounded by people who loved us, eating cake and dancing badly. But even in the best moments, the question sat in the back of my mind like a guest who wouldn't leave. What happens after this? Because the wedding ends. The photos get edited. The cake gets eaten. The dress gets hung up. And the girl I just had escorted out in a white gown? She still has 15 years of our history in her hands and she wasn't done throwing it around. I thought the hardest part was kicking her out of my wedding. I was wrong. The hardest part was deciding whether she still had a place in my life at all. Weddings end brutally fast. One minute you're spinning under fairy lights to a song you barely remember choosing. The next, you're in a hotel room staring at your own reflection with bobby pins exploding out of your hair like shrapnel. The music is gone, the adrenaline crashes. All that's left is you, your choices, and your phone. Ours lit up the second we finally sat down on the edge of the bed. Group chats, tags, missed calls. Leah had sent a photo of us at the altar with a caption. "We did it. No backup brides needed." Most replies were hearts and crying emojis. A couple of mutual friends wrote, "Wait, where was Harper?" But other people answered before I could. She wore white. She got escorted. End of story. Except it wasn't. There was a voicemail from my mom. "I'm proud of you, honey. I know that wasn't easy. We'll talk tomorrow. Tonight. Sleep." There was a message from my cousin. "For the record, we all saw her dress. You did the right thing. Anyone saying otherwise is lying to themselves." And there were 3 missed calls from an unsaved number that I knew was Harper's new temp line, since I'd blocked her main one. Dylan glanced at the screen. "You don't have to listen." "I know," I said. "Which is exactly why I'm going to. Once." I put it on speaker. Her voice came through, thick with what I guessed was crying, and what I knew was anger. "Wow," she started. "Just, wow. I hope you're happy. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You let some rent-a-guard march me out like I was some random crasher. After everything I did for your stupid wedding." She sniffed. "You could have pulled me aside quietly. You could have let it go and laughed it off. But no. You had to make a show. You had to prove you're the bride. Guess what? Everyone already knew. I wore a pretty dress. You used it as an excuse to finally act like you're better than me. Congrats." There was a pause. When she spoke again, her voice dropped. "Don't call me when your marriage falls apart. Don't call me when you need someone to vent to. You picked your sister over me. Remember that when she stabs you in the back someday. She will. People like her always do." The voicemail ended. Silence stretched between me and Dylan. "Well," he said finally, "it's good to know we made the right call." I laughed, but it came out broken. "So that's it. 15 years and I get a voicemail threat as a wedding present." He slipped his arm around me. "No. You got something else too." "What?" "Proof," he said. "Proof that it was never really about the dress." He was right. Those weren't the words of someone who'd made one bad choice, and was embarrassed. They were the words of someone furious she wasn't allowed to get away with it. The next morning, the real postmortem began. I woke up to a DM from an old mutual friend. "Hey. I saw Harper's story." Then I saw the comments. "Just wanted to say I was at a wedding once where she wore white to the rehearsal dinner and made jokes all night about being practice bride. I thought it was weird. I should have warned you." Another message. "Harper is telling people you lost your mind and had her removed because she looked better than you. I was there. She's leaving out the part where she was literally in a wedding dress." The friend group split fast. Some people went full neutral. "That's between you two." Translation. "I don't want to pick a side because it might cost me invitations." Some quietly unfollowed her and messaged me their support. Some DM'd both of us the exact same thing. "I'm so sorry this happened. I love you both." Translation. "I'm going to pretend this is a tragic misunderstanding and not a choice." And then there were the ones who made their stance painfully clear. One girl I used to be close to wrote, Honestly, you could have just let her stay and dealt with it later. It was her big day too, in a way. Maid of honor is a huge role. Leah saw that and nearly threw my phone out the window. Her big day too? Are we serious? My chest tightened. This is what I was scared of, I admitted. People thinking I overreacted. Some people will always think boundaries are overreactions, Leah said. Because they benefit from you having none. My mom came by with coffee and that look moms get when they want to fix everything and know they can't. I heard some of the ladies saying you went too far, she said quietly. I told them it's easy to say that when you're not the one whose wedding she tried to hijack. Did they back down? I asked. They changed the subject, she said. Which is good enough for me. The hardest conversation was the one I didn't want to have, but couldn't avoid. The future of my friendship with Harper. I sat on the edge of the guest bed. Phone in hand. Draft message open. Part of me wanted to send a long essay, listing every red flag, every hurt, every moment she made my milestones about her. Another part wanted to say nothing at all, and let the silence answer for me. Dylan sat beside me. What do you actually want? He asked. I want her to understand, I said. To see herself. To realize she crossed a line and mean it when she says sorry. And if she never does? He asked. The mention of never made my throat go tight. Then I don't want someone in my life who can do what she did and still think she's the victim. He nodded. Then don't text for her potential. Decide for who she actually is right now. So I didn't send the essay. I sent this. Harper. You wore a wedding gown to my wedding. Grabbed my bouquet. Refused to change. And made my boundary into a test of my confidence. That's not what best friends do. I won't argue about it. And I won't rehash it over and over. If one day you can see why that was wrong and apologize without excuses, you can reach out. Until then, I need space. I'm wishing you the best from a distance. I put the phone down and walked away. She read it within 2 minutes. The typing bubble came and went 3 times. Then nothing. No apology, no curse. Just silence. And in that silence, something strange happened. My shoulders dropped. For the first time in months, maybe years, my body believed me when I said I was done chasing her approval. Days turned into weeks. Screenshots of her original, I got thrown out for looking too good in white story circulated. But they came with commentary now. People had started adding, wait, but you wore a wedding dress. And this is exactly what those viral posts warn about. She didn't repost or respond. Eventually, the story expired and she didn't bring it back. As the dust settled, the new normal became obvious. Some people stopped inviting us to the same events, to avoid awkwardness. Some kept inviting us both and quietly watched to see if I'd cave. Most, though, stayed firmly in our corner and never said it out loud, they just showed up. Leah and I framed one of our wedding photos. Me in my dress, her in the blue gown that was supposed to be Harper's, both of us laughing at something the photographer said. We put it on my mantle. It doesn't look like a backup plan. It looks correct. When I walk past it now, I don't see the girl in the parking lot in white. I see the girl who stepped up, zipped my dress, and stood in a spot she didn't ask for, but absolutely earned. People still ask, sometimes in lowered voices, so, what happened with your original maid of honor? I tell them the short version. She wore a white wedding gown and refused to change. I say. So I replaced her before I walked down the aisle. Reactions split exactly how you'd expect. Half say, good for you. The other half say, I could never do that to my best friend. And that's when I realized the real question isn't could you? It's why would you ever have to? Because if your best friend chooses a dress over your dignity, you didn't lose a friend when you enforce a boundary. You finally made room for people who know what it actually means to be on your side. So if you were me standing there in your robe while your maid of honor walks in wearing white and says, if you're confident, it won't bother you. Would you let her stand beside you at the altar? Or would you replace her before you ever took that first step down the aisle?